Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. So today's video we're going to be testing the Lenovo Legion 5 with the Ryzen 7 500 series CPU and also the GeForce RTX 3070 with 8GB of graphics memory. Let's create a new world here. Also I've got BSL shaders installed. Let me know what shaders I should test next for this laptop to test it to its max. Start off with, we are getting a good 165 with loads of 128 FPS. This is on basics. Let's see if we can hop in some water here. Alright, so we're at some water now. So let's just sink down, see if it, I don't know, drops the FPS or somewhat. As you see, the FPS has had loads of 30 FPS, but then again it goes all the way back up to highs of 100. Now, let's test it on low settings in shaders. So let's exit here, options, video settings, shaders, BSL shaders. I believe these are already on low settings. I've done some work before the video. To go on to BSL shaders, shader options, it is on low. Let's test it here. There we go. We've got a decent FPS range, 149 to 98 FPS, going through trees and branches. I could take a look at the water again, because I think that's going to be the most interesting part about it. The water looks really good on this. Right, so let's drop back in. Once you've got some little FPS drops, let's see what it's like when you drop in with some regular falling. I love the way the sun kind of shadows reflect off the water. So let's drop in. Nothing really changes, to be honest. Let's see what happens when we go into darker areas. As you see, same. So, I don't get out of here now. I'm kind of stuck. Well, so as you guys can see, we are getting quite decent FPS with this. So let's test some TNT out, shall we? Alright, we've got some TNT. We just need the flint and steel. There we have it, the flint and steel. So let's get straight into setting off a bunch of TNT, shall we? Let's start off with 8 pieces, see what that does. Set them off as many as we can at once. Oh, loads of 34 FPS with that much TNT. I reckon you could have some problem if you had a little lower end graphics card. But let's try just spamming as much TNT as possible. Alright guys, we've got at least 100 blocks of TNT here. So let's start off by lighting that top one. And let's just monitor the FPS levels on it. It's actually quite alright. Barely just below 40 FPS, and that's more TNT than last time we were closer to it. So I think overall we can conclude that it works very well in low settings on this graphics card and laptop. So let's move on to medium settings, I believe. So guys, we are now on medium settings. So let's go straight in to testing. Well, there we go. So it's dropped down to lows of 120 FPS. I think before it was hovering around above the hundreds still, but it's still good, just for regular mining or minecrafting, whatever you want to call it. As you see here, regular, same old, same old. It runs quite well on this, lows of 40 FPS. Okay, so let's go back down to here again, drop into the water, 37 lows in the water, quite simple. Now next up we have the torch test. Also just want to point out to you guys that this is not a sponsored video whatsoever, and I'm doing this off my own back to test my computer to its own limits. If you guys do decide to do this by yourself, do it with caution, because sometimes you can have some problems occur. For example, what the? And trust me, you do not want your computer blowing up right in your face. So let's place these 2 blocks here and just test the spreading of that. As you see, basic, just like a normal torch. You get much ray tracing capability with medium settings. Obviously, as you get to higher settings, you'll see that a lot more looking sort of realistic. I'm loving the sky, the clouds too. It actually looks really, really nice. Obviously, the water too. FPS, again, playable. It's playable. That's nothing that you wouldn't expect from a graphics card of this price, especially since it's in a laptop. You would expect it to have a little bit less performance, but it probably does. Probably just get bottlenecked due to the fact it is a mobile GPU. So let's move on to high settings. Alright, so we're on high settings now. Let's click done and get straight into it. Alright, so we're on high settings now. I'm already starting to see a little bit of stutter from it. As you see here, 99 FPS loads. That's not too bad. It's still playable. No, obviously don't go building loads of stuff. I'm loving the reflections now. This is going to be a bit which challenges the GPU the most, because it's got do all the extra stuff to get the reflections in the ice and also the water now. Now the water is still looking the same as before. Let's just do the dive test, see if it drops the FPS any more than it did last time. It's quite simple now, you know the drill. I didn't 49 FPS lows. That's not bad. I didn't do a TNT test last round, so just thought skip it because it's going to work somewhat similar already. Because obviously you didn't have all this added reflections and all that to contend with. So let's play some TNT for a TNT test. Alright now guys, we are testing it with 32 blocks of TNT from the get-go. So let's just light all this up, start as close to it as we can, and monitor the FPS. Oh, we got loads of 42 FPS. I believe that is only 2 FPS less than last time, but also we did have less TNT, so I think it's safe to assume that you could probably get similar performance as you do with the lower end, the low settings. So let's once again place loads of TNT, and I'll see you guys once I've placed all the TNT. Oh, you can zoom in now. Alright guys, we have over 100 blocks of TNT in this time. Now I'm going to push this to the max since it is high settings. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. Let's set as much as possible and go to the FPS timer. Let's see what FPS we get from this. Let's run to the hole. As you see again, we hit 48 FPS, which I wouldn't say is too bad to be honest. You know, for a mobile GPU, this is working quite well. Especially since its game computers are quite frowned upon sometimes, but it's running well. It's running better than my last PC did, and that was a full-fledged PC. However, it didn't quite have the same GPU in. It had a 1060 in. So those of you trying to run this on 1060s, GTX 1060s that is, I wouldn't really try to, but you can run it on low settings, and that's from experience with some other stuff set up in it. Oh wow! Look at that, you've got the Aurora. Let's see what FPS it is. 96 FPS to 100 FPS, 151 FPS highs. That's actually not bad. You know what? I love Minecraft when it gets like this. It's such a nostalgic game. Alright, so as the sun sets over there, you can see this looks really, really nice. I can't wait to test this on epic mode. Let's test it now. Alright guys, we are on ultra mode. Let's just click done here and get back to the game. Wow, that looks amazing. It's not made much difference, but I do believe during the day you do notice it a lot more. Now let's go over to the trees here. Do we have fancy moving trees? Yes, we do. We have the same old moving trees. Got nice reflections as well. Also, we ain't got the special grass because that just makes the performance even better. And I want to push this to the max. And my FPS, it's solid. 140 FPS, I'm going to say, roughly, highs. Obviously, as we get to lighter places, we do get lower FPS. Obviously, because we've got all the shadows now, it's got to reflect. Obviously, you've got the auroras, it's got to reflect too. So highs of 30, lows of 70, I believe I saw, maybe 40, I'm not sure. But let's go to daytime to test it properly. Alright guys, we are now in daytime, and as we see, the FPS is still hovering, lows of 62, highs of 35 FPS so far. And that's actually pretty good considering we haven't done the water dunk test yet. Let's test that out now because sometimes you do get quite significant drops when dropping into the water and looking at the sun. There we go. Lows of 94 FPS I believe I saw. As we see under here, under the ice. Still 90 FPS lows. That is not bad considering I came up from nothing with this, my last PC. As we see here, the 2 holes we made with the TNT. Loads of TNT. Let's drop into these, see if it does anything to it. Oh, loads of 68 FPS. That is sort of bad. But as you see, as you get into the jungle and wooded areas, you do see we get around 150 FPS. And that is not bad at all. Also, when you start to stand still, you get that. But when you start moving, you do drop noticeably because obviously you've got all that other stuff rendering in the background. Alright guys, I'm going to go place as much TNT as I can. Hopefully over 100 pieces again. And I'll be back with you guys once I have completed it. I'm loving the biomes, by the way. your new Minecraft biomes, they look amazing. Alright guys, we have a tower of over 300 blocks of TNT. Let's set this off in Ultra Mode to test exactly how effective it's going to be. Let's go right up to the top. Check the FPS. 42 FPS lows. Let's drop down and 72 FPS highs. 42 FPS lows on high settings. I'm not going to complain about that. This water looks amazing too. On ultra settings, it managed it easy. So there we have it, guys. If you're looking to get yourself a, in some cases budget, some cases not so budget, gaming laptop, I would highly recommend a Lenovo Legion 5. There are two versions of mine. You can get the iCheck 3060 or 3070. I believe there's a 3080 version out there, but I've got the 3070, 8 GB. Obviously, it's Ryzen. You get some in Intel. I do personally prefer to go with Ryzen. Obviously, they allow more overclocking capabilities with their CPUs. So it is Christmas, there's Black Friday deals on. So if you're looking to get a nice laptop for yourself, £800 is what I paid in the UK. I'm not sure what that equates for in dollars for the stock version, which is 3060 with 8 GB of RAM with the same CPU, I believe. And then the version which I've got right now is £1,300. Now, see, those of you guys may not be able to stretch that far. I would recommend getting for them, maybe save up for one, because they do it well and they play plenty of other games very well too. So, without further ado, guys, I'm going to have to leave you guys there. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you want me to build an entire world out of TNT and detonate it, because I want to see exactly how I can not break it, but push it to the limit where it crashes the game and I can still log in. Hopefully I can. But yeah, without further ado, guys, like, subscribe if you have not done so before, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.